Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
I'm Gary, and this is my wife, Jeannie. We're with HaMakom Online Fellowship, and we're here to talk to you about preparing for Passover this week.
Yes.
In Leviticus chapter 23, it tells us that the day after Passover begins the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and we are not to have any leaven in our household whatsoever. So we want to take a little bit of time with you today to talk to you about preparing for this Feast of Unleavened Bread.
So when it comes to cleaning, man, this is where spring cleaning came from, because you get down to the nitty-gritty. If you really want to do this all out this year, and it's your choice, we just see that in the scripture. So every year we try to look for all the places in our house that leaven may be hiding. Some places you might not think of. I know each year we discovered new places for leaven to hide when we first started doing Pesach back in the late 80s, early 90s. And every year we discover a new place that leaven is hiding. So it's a pretty interesting journey. So things like, obvious things like your oven, you open up your oven and you always have some little crumbs down kind of in the little ridges and hiding places. So you want to be sure that you clean that oven, turn it on, bake everything out, and then get in there with the vacuum. There's other places that we find little bits of leaven hiding, Gary. Remember when we thought we were all done and we'd pull open the silverware drawer, and guess what? There's a few little tiny crumbs down in that silverware drawer.
Well, and of course the toaster, if you have a toaster oven, and
that's an obvious
things
one.
Spill in your pantry. And of course, the pantry is a place where leaven can be hiding even in plain sight.
Absolutely. And the refrigerator.
Absolutely.
Don't forget that.
So the obvious are things like your bread and your biscuits and your baked goods and things like that. Those are the obvious
bags
forms
of flour.
When we look at the Bible's pretty clear in terms of what constitutes leaven. Leaven in Hebrew is seor, and it talks about yeast or sourdough, things that make chametz rise. So chametz is something that has become leavened, so it's come in contact. And chametz, according to the scriptures, are things that are leavened in grains like wheat and rye, barley, oats, and spelt. And of course, if you look at different aspects of Judaism, or even within Hebrew roots Christianity, some observe kitniot, which includes things like rice and beans and lentils and peas and corns. We like to stick with the biblical basis.
Yes.
And that way you can choose to determine what is best for your household. But let's just keep it simple this year and say, let's make sure that we don't have any seor, which would be things with yeast in it, or any of the biblical grains, the wheat, rye, barley, oats, or spelt.
And something interesting to keep in mind is that yeast and fungi are actually in the air. So when you see this 18-minute rule and you think, well, why does something become leavened in 18 minutes? Even though I don't have any leavening in it, it's because of that, because it's in the air, we can't see it, there's spores everywhere.
It just occurs naturally.
And it occurs naturally within that time frame they have decided.
So anyway, what we can do for you today is take a look at some of the simple things that you might find in your pantry that you should take a look at. So
Absolutely.
Jeannie, why don't you show us some of the examples? Well, here, some of the obvious things that are okay. Matzah meal and matzah, definitely okay. And some of the things that you may not consider would be corn. Corn is not considered a biblical grain that can be considered chametz. Of course, in the Ashkenazi tradition, it's considered kitniot, and therefore it is prohibited. So again, it's not necessarily as clear-cut as you might think it is. You have to really look at the tradition that you're following. We simply follow the biblical commandments.
And it's very helpful for us when you can't have a lot of the breads and things. It's very helpful using the things listed in the Holy Scriptures, because being able to have a taco during the week of unleavened bread is extremely helpful.
Or some chickpea pasta.
Amen.
Mac and cheese. Yum. So other things that we want to take a look at that you might not consider chametz, but actually have hidden chametz.
Yes. This is one of my biggies that we found out a couple years after we started into this. Read the labels. As you're going through your pantry, just take a day. Don't get all stressed out. Get your readers on if you need them, like I do. Read labels. And over time, you'll get to know, oh my gosh, I remember that does contain the yeast extract. So you're going to find yeast extract in a lot of items, both in your pantry and in your refrigerator. So out go a good majority of the soups, and look through things like your salad dressings and other foods in your fridge. Some of those contain yeast extract as well.
Absolutely. Big fan of ramen? Wheat noodles? No.
No
rice,
can do.
Rice noodles?
Rice ramen, yes.
Yes. Okay. Of course, oats, oatmeal cookies, things like that. One of the biblical grains, so we will not.
Now,
pay
is that
attention to
forbidden or is that allowed?
Forbidden. It is.
Okay.
It is considered chametz.
So out goes my heart healthy organic oatmeal for the week.
Now here's one that you might not think of: soy sauce. It says right
That's
here.
right.
Read the fine print. It says contains wheat. I don't know where
Who
they
would
hid.
think?
I don't know where they hid the wheat in
Who
the
would
soy
think?
sauce, but it's hidden in here. But a good substitute for soy sauce that you want to put on your ramen noodles.
Bragg's liquid aminos does not contain wheat, does not contain yeast extract, and we did research this online. It is considered kosher for Passover.
So this is not meant to be a comprehensive lesson. It
No.
really is a way to get you to be thinking about how to prepare for Passover, how to get the leaven out of your house, and more importantly, how to look for a leaven that is contained within your heart. The Apostle Paul teaches us in the book of Galatians chapter 5 and in 1 Corinthians chapter 5 that a leaven can spread throughout a community. And he's
That's right.
talking about the leaven of sinfulness. And that is an important spiritual aspect as we prepare for Passover, not just to physically remove leaven, but to look within and get the
That's
leaven
right.
out of our hearts. Those secret hidden sins that we may not even know about, but come to mind as we're starting to look physically for the leaven.
Are we bearing a grudge against somebody? Is there a family member that we had a tiff with years ago and we just haven't been in touch? Are we envious of someone? Is a little bit of jealousy crept in there somewhere? Some hidden anger that you didn't even realize that you were harboring for something that happened to you many, many years ago. So these are all examples of how leaven can be hidden and not be seen on the surface, but things that we need to search our heart and ask the Lord to search our heart, because maybe we don't even know they're there.
Amen.
And reveal those to us. As I depend on my husband Gary, who does a fabulous job of, after we've cleaned the leaven out, he really goes through carefully, and he might still come up with something. Jeannie, look what I found. So to me, that is a picture of how the Lord can also help when we pray and say, Lord, show us impurities and uncleanness that maybe we're carrying around that we don't even know about, that are hidden within us spiritually, and get rid of those for this new year. Another place, Gary, I thought of that you want to remember to look is pick up those couch cushions.
Yes.
Maybe you had a snack or a meal on your couch or your chair the other day. So pick up those couch cushions and make sure you look in those hidden spots.
And the couch cushions of your heart. So
That's
look in
right.
all of these places. We just want to wish you the best for Passover, a blessed and kosher Passover. We want to also extend an invitation to you to join us for Passover. We'll be hosting a live interactive Zoom Passover this Friday evening at 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And you can register for free. There's absolutely no charge.
That's right.
You can find all kinds of Passover resources on our website. Go to www.HaMakomFellowship.com and look for the Passover Seder page, and you'll be able to register, and you'll be able to find out everything you need to know to prepare for this coming Passover.
When you're looking for the Passover Seder page, I believe you need to, if you have a down arrow and it says more, it might be a subcategory on some of your screens, so be sure to check there. Speaking of that,
Yes.
we're finding out that a lot of the folks that we communicate with on a regular basis felt like they weren't getting emails in our Sentinel newsletter, Gary, and we found that they were showing up in some people's promotions tab.
Or their spam folder.
Or the spam folder. So make sure that you look in your promotions tab every week from anything from HaMakom Fellowship. And if that has happened to you, then please make sure you add us to your contact list or your address book. And that way it should, and I say should in air quotes, come into your general personal inbox. We try to send out communications of in some form at least once a week, whether we have a service that week or not. So be sure to keep up with all the goings on and future events with HaMakom by watching for that Sentinel newsletter. And then we do send out additional emails for urgent prayer requests or an upcoming event that maybe you didn't know about. So be sure to keep in touch with us and communicate. Be on that website as often as you can. And I just want to stress, Passover is not a time to get all stressed out about following a specific
that is such a good word.
Tradition.
It is the festival of freedom.
Yes.
So we don't find ourselves in bondage and slavery
No.
to these things. We want to do what the scriptures tell us and get these things out. But this is not a burden. This is a joy, and this should be a joyful time for you as you prepare for Passover.
And like every feast, every appointment that we have with the Lord, every Moedim, which is for all people, not just people that have genetically Jewish DNA, it's for all people. These are the feasts and the appointments of the Lord. So
Amen.
No matter what your faith culture, no matter what your genetics, this is a time for every one of us to come together. We once were slaves, but we have been set free by the precious blood of Messiah. We have been brought out of slavery to sin. We every day are continuing to march out of Egypt in some small way as we learn life lessons along the way. And Pesach is such a wonderful time to learn life lessons that apply all year round, not just on the specific Moedim and the date that's been set by our Creator.
Well said. Well, thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it, and don't get too stressed out this week as you prepare for Passover. Oh, one more word?
I got one more thing.
Okay.
We had somebody ask if they needed to get all of the supplies and set their Seder table to participate. Absolutely not. If you just want to join us at the Seder and just participate virtually with us, you don't have to purchase a thing to observe Passover with us. We'll be doing all that for you. But if you want to interact in a very personal way and do set the table with all of the elements of the Passover Seder and participate along with us, do that too. We don't want anyone to stay away because maybe they can't purchase some supplies, because we do live in a very, things are tight financially for all of us.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you again, and we hope you found this worthwhile watching.
Yes.
Give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you for Pesach.
Shalom, everyone.